Test, 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 test. Day 3 of the TST rolls on from the spectacular Wakeman Soccer Park in Cary. Field 5 action, and it's women action. The second game for both of these teams as Boca Dallas losing 3-1 in their first game to the Courage, and Bumpy Pitch with an exciting win in their first game. They come in with 3 points. It's Boca Dallas and it's Bumpy Pitch. We'll have the starting lineups in a moment, but let's go through the rules again. 7v7. No throw-ins, no sliding tackles, no offside. It is on, and it is exciting, and every game ends with a target score. We'll explain that a little bit later in the second half. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for both teams. For Bumpy Pitch FC, Tegan Y in goal, Heather Gilchrist, number 22, Allie Prysock, won a natty at Southern Cal, number 23, Leah Klinke, the Notre Dame style, number 4, Sophia Wynn, number 16, Scotland Antonucci, number 26, and Yuki Nagasato, number 17. The starting lineups on the other side for Boca Dallas: Alejandro Tina Hera, number 1, Erica Soto, number 6, Samara Gomez, number 17, Rosa Aguiar, number 19, Sylvia Aliciero, number 10, Andrea Gallegos, number 11, and Denise Valdez, number 23. Those are the starting lineups for both teams. My name's Dean Linke, delighted to be with you, where I'll be joined here by our production crew, Anthony Hennig, Daniel Bentley, also helping us out, Michael Helmack, Knox Horn, our PA announcer, the wonderful pipes of Matt Wojciechowicz. He's the man, and Jameel Francis kind of holding it all together. That's our crew over here, and I like all these people. Great to be with them. Great to be with all of you as we get ready to bring you some exciting women's action. Love the women's game, and even at this 7v7 level, it is fantastic to see it take center stage. And the games have been good. The games flow. They get about their business. They're super skillful, and this is outstanding. So Boca Dallas will have a heavy Mexican flair, and that will include a lot of players that actually are playing professionally in Mexico. They're playing beach soccer in Mexico. They're playing indoor soccer in Mexico. They also have some WMASL players as well. Of course, we all know over the last couple years, the TST on the men's side, the teams that have a lot of indoor players have done really, really well. Bumpy Pitch has a strong California flair mixed in with some of my favorite players. And Bumpy Pitch trying to get rolling there. Closing down on it was Gomez, number 17. Bumpy Pitch, so close right off the bat, is Nagasato is there with a little bit of blue in her hair, and she's got outstanding flair for the game. Big-time talent. Boca Dallas in the dark blue jerseys. This will be chested down by Denise Valdez. Spent time with Cruz Azul and Leon. She did score the late goal in the 3-1 loss to the North Carolina Courage, who have their W League team in this, led by Willie Davis. And that's worth saying because they're the reigning W League champs a year after being the W League runner-ups. And the majority of that team, including Macy Bader, is back. Shot from distance, handled there by Tegan Y from Cal. Split time with Shu Oba. Oba, a keeper who spent time with the Japanese national team. We'll see if she does play the second half. We're seeing Boca Dallas, coached by Manuel Morales. Good to spend a little bit of time with him walking in. Especially was thrilled to get over there and see from Bumpy Pitch McCall Zerboni, who was a rock star for the North Carolina Courage, came here when Steve Malik acquired the Western New York Flash, I think 2014, They'd won the title there and started rattling off titles here at Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary. McCall Zerboni then would go on to Gotham. I think she could still find an NWSL team. The former Bruin, 38 years young and still looking outstanding. Scored a big goal in their opening win. Here's a shot, and just missing. Really good opportunity by Erica Soto. Spent time with 5 teams in Mexico. It has been cloudy at times, but it's full blazing sun right now. The kind of sun that will make you sweat just standing there, let alone playing 2 20-minute halves and then target score time. And it changes the dynamic. If you watch the TST, and particularly if you watch evening games, particularly like last night with Indiana and Stanford, they didn't play all day. They played a 7:45 game, and it was incredible as they conserved their energy all day. Make no mistake, as the women play their 2 final group games today, this game here in the heat will add a little wear and tear, and then they'll play several hours later for their final game before they get to the 8 teams that advance, which is amazing in itself. There were just 8 teams last year, the first time they had women in the TST. They've doubled that to 16. 8 of them will make it to the knockout round. Kick in for Boca Dallas. One back by Bumpy pitch. McCall Zerboni, good ball inside as Zerboni turns on it to Taylor Suarez, who spent time with the U17 and U20 national team programs. McCall Zerboni actually had almost double-digit appearances for the U.S. women, and back from 2019 would have made that World Cup team had she not suffered a devastating arm injury toward the end of the NWSL season that did not allow her to play in the championship game that the Courage did win, but also kept her off what I think was a surefire lock pick for the 2019 World Cup team. Boca Dallas looking for their first points in this group. Good cross, and right in front, trying to run onto it is Suarez. Suarez always makes really good runs, and Bumpy pitch kind of setting the tone here early doors on Field 5.
And if you're just joining us on Field 5, welcome. We have a women's round 2 matchup, Boca Dallas.
One back by Bumpy pitch. Turning with it for Bumpy pitch is Genesee Quintigam, the assistant coach for Brian Lee at Rice. Little touch. It'll be a kick in for Boca Dallas. Boca Dallas in the blue and gold. Bumpy pitch. In the lighter colored jerseys. Sent across, headed down. Almost a handball, but spinning out of there is Shea Harvey. Harvey now on the run. Harvey's got Ajeto on one side, Thomas on the other, and it's going to squeeze through. A brilliant goal from Taylor Suarez. Taylor Suarez has made it 1-0 Bumpy pitch. So Taylor Suarez. Pretty sure she spent time at Florida State, which has produced a ton of great players. Mark Krikorian there for a long time. Now Brian Pinsky. Quickly picked up by Faith George, who plays for Southern Cal. College players can play. They were a key part of the U.S. women winning last year, as Tessa Della Rose and several other college players for North Carolina were huge. Katie Fossey, the winner of the Mac Herman Trophy winner, is playing for the USA women, who I believe won again, and they're off to a great start in their group action. Pretty much certain they've already punched their ticket on to the next round. In fact, not pretty sure. It's a fact. That one sent long as it was played to the feet of Gianna Riley. Faith George is out there wearing number 8, talking to the referee right now. She is the daughter to Sam George, who was a great player at UCLA and spent time in Major League Soccer as well. Probably still doing great things. Might even be doing things in the game. Probably is. But what I do know is he's got a great family, and including Faith George, who I called her ECNL National Championship game, where she scored, I think, both the goals in the championship game a couple years ago. And then the very first game of the Big Ten season, Southern Cal now into the Big Ten, was at Purdue, and she scored the winner there too. So a 1-0 lead as Bumpy pitches Taylor Suarez with the finish. Katie Johnson, part of that 2016 National Championship team with Southern Cal, and played in the NWSL as late as just last year, just like McCall Zerboni. She could even have more time in the NWSL perhaps if she wants it, particularly with expansion coming down the line. Denver will be in next year. I think Boston as well. Of course, I say all of that because the North Carolina Courage at the NWSL, this is their home out here at Wakeman. Here's a shot deflected there. Shot coming from Judith Gongora. Spent time with Tigres as well as 5 other Mexico teams. The aforementioned Faith George going to head to the bench now as she'll go out. The rotation is on for Bumpy pitch. Rick Baker, Jeff Tarkett, the 2 main coaches for this Bumpy pitch team. Bumpy pitch trying to add to their 1-0 lead, and they will. Yuki Nagasato wearing the number 17 jerseys made it Bumpy pitch 2, Boca Dallas 0.
FC.
2-0 lead, and right back at it is Boca Dallas.
Bumpy pitch FC goal scored by number 17, Yuki Nagasato.
Nagasato had quite a bit of her jersey pulled right there. That was number 3, Daniela Vidal, who plays for Chivas, storied club in Mexico. Alondra Tinajero, the goalkeeper for Boca Dallas, wearing the number 1 jersey. She plays in the MASLW that I was talking about. Taken away again by Bumpy pitch. That's Heather Gilchrist, who steps in there at the right time. Turney with it. Andrea Allman, who has spent time with the Mexico full team. Little cool breeze shifting through here, always nice, with a lot less clouds and a lot more sun. Day 3 of the TST, the soccer tournament, where every game ends in a goal. That's why they call it target score time. And every goal scorer that ends a game gets an Adidas Golden Fleece scarf as we sign off. It's been great, all leading up to Sunday's $1 Million Championship games, where same thing will happen. Somebody is going to score a goal that is going to bring their team $1 million. And if it's like last year, it's amazing as they start cutting checks right there, Johnny, on the spot for everybody that is part of each team. It's pretty cool. Long ball, nobody home, so it'll come back to Bumpy pitch. Causer Boney actually bringing in the flag for Bumpy pitch. So the first player I saw over there, big hug from her. It's called a lot of her games. Actually, there was one game where, unfortunately, she was out because of an injury. She joined me and Anson Dorrance in the broadcast booth, and that was a real treat. Here comes all the way across, big-time save there. And another save by the defender, another save by the defender. Two big-time saves off the line. Remember that if somehow Boca Dallas can stay with that. So the numbers of the 14, 7, and 9. So Karen Zoye, and then Judith Gongora, and then finally Nelly Ramos Ramirez, all making big-time saves in that last sequence. Sometimes it takes more than your goalkeeper. Your defenders got to get back there and sacrifice their body to keep this game tight. That would have been pretty big for Bumpy Pitch to take that 2-0 lead. Let's get a time update on how much time is remaining here.
6.5 minutes remaining.
6.5 minutes remaining.
Your score, Bumpy Pitch 2, Boca Dallas 0.
This one coming across.
And just a reminder, fans, Bumpy Pitch is in maroon kits, Boca Dallas in the blue and gold kits.
Bumpy Pitch, shots in favor 10-3 with the 2-0 lead as Suarez and Nagasato with the goals. So massive that Boca Dallas used 3 players there to keep this game from going to 3-0 was the proper way to break down that last play. A return there for Boca Dallas, knocked out of bounds by the first goal scorer, Taylor Suarez. All the way through and out of bounds. Good corner kick defending coming from Bumpy Pitch as it'll come back to Tegan Y. Tegan Y, former goalkeeper at Cal. Those of you that love the women's game, reminding you that one of the most recognizable names in the women's game, Alex Morgan, played at Cal. Damaris Sanchez.
Fans on field 5, we have just about 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Your score, Bumpy Pitch 2, Boca Dallas 0.
So 2-0 Bumpy Pitch. Katie Johnson back into the game. Katie Johnson, after they won that national championship, and Bumpy Pitch fans, I know you've heard the story before, but for new fans of the game, want to let everybody know the United Soccer Coaches Convention was in LA in January of 2017. That shot was knocked away, so Kanani McAlpine, the captain of Cools, now the head coach for the Georgia Bulldogs, was the keynote speaker for the college coaches dinner that night, and Kanani McAlpine and Katie Johnson both spoke. They were brilliant. Yeah, Taylor Suarez, the Seminole, who also played for the U17 and the U20 team. Middle of the park. 2 minutes remaining here in the first half that sees Bumpy pitch on top of Boca Dallas by a score of 2-0. Lovely touch here by Boca Dallas. Caught 8 games on Wednesday, and even for the early 8 o'clock games, there was a great crowd. Yesterday it rained the entire time, and there's still a great crowd. Today, another great crowd. U.S. women playing earlier on the field just to the right of us. Field 3, where Pat McAfee was doing his show. Pat McAfee on the air basically said they need to make this an annual event, and they need to keep it right here. I support that. Hope you do too. Watching at home, the TST. 16 teams, 4 groups of 4. 8 will advance, so the top 2 teams from each group. That's why this game is so important for Boca Dallas, as it should put them out of it, whereas Bumpy pitch at 6 points will guarantee them pushing through. Whoa, a little bit of header, and a good opportunity for a late goal here in what is the final minute or so. The referee talking to Antonucci. Tina Hetto with 7 saves now for Boca Dallas. Otherwise, it could be 4-5-0 as they play it back to Tina Hetto. We'll see on the other side if Shuoba, who has earned some caps with the Japanese national team, will come on like she did in the first game yesterday over on Field 3. Fun to call that game on Field 3, which really for the majority of these first several days has been the marquee stadium because of the McAfee show. And that is the whistle. 2-0, and our amazing crew here, including Daniel Bentley, giving you a look at the crowd and how much fun everybody's having. Big smiles, and big smiles for Bumpy pitch. They lead Boca Dallas by a score of 2-0 at the half. See, Anthony Enage will confirm if the 7 saves belong to Bumpy Pitch or Boca Dallas. So just flip that little stat in your mind and then get pumped up as McCall Zerboni is out over the ball. So here we go. I mentioned the college players. Suarez, one of 3 players for Florida State, still playing for Coach Penske, so that answers that. All right, interesting as we're waiting on
fans, we're just about to kick off here
Boca Dallas.
5. Bumpy Pitch taking on Boca Dallas.
Ryder.
Turn score, Bumpy
How do you say your last
Pitch 2,
name?
Boca Dallas
Yeah,
0.
okay.
Second half just about to kick off.
Ryder Ajetto, another one of those Florida State players. Right in front of us, wearing number 14. Go get him, Ryder. McCall Zerboni. Zerboni will drop it back.
5, Bumpy Pitch in the maroon
Looking for Ajetto. Ooh, so close. Zerboni. Zerboni, so hard to get it away from her. Back over to Ajetto. That would have been brilliant if Ajetto scored right after we talked to her to start the second half. Part of the reason I love my job, love being right down here on the field, close to the action. Here's a shot from distance, no problem. As Shu Oba played at a couple colleges and played for the Japanese national team. Oba spending some time at East Tennessee State. And I believe at UMiss. It'll be a kick-in coming for Genesee. The assistant coach at Rice will earn the kick-in for Bumpy Pitch, Shea Harvey. Shea Harvey quickly, and it's pulled out of the air as Landra Tinajero has had a really nice game, kept Boca Dallas in this game. 8 saves now. Taken away by Boca Dallas. No surprise that Brian Penske, the national championship winning head coach at Florida State, is nearby, as is his son, who is playing Tufts University. Tufts University, by the way, you think about women's soccer, here's a little stat for you. The first ever World Cup was in 1991. The official poster for that team was shot at Tufts University. And of course, that team would win the first World Cup, and you weren't even born yet, in 1991. Talking to Ryan Penske's son, Ben. Genesee will drop it back. Little touch right there from Harvey. Shea Harvey's going to come out. Also coming out is Ajetto. Over the ball now. Genesee's going to stay in there. Also coming into the game is Elise Evans, Stanford. Out of the top California teams, and Boca Dallas denied by Oba.
Is number 0, Shu Oba.
So Oba with the save. 4 saves already for Oba, who, well, actually we need to check that, make sure our main man producer knows that Oba just entered in the second half for the team. So Oba just adding to the save tally. Little touch, and then a shot from long distance. Oba knew to let that one go. Get a time check here. 16 minutes left. George drops it back. No pressure on Faith George, but she has scored a lot of goals with me on the call at different levels, youth and college, and why not TST? I told her to go ahead and get another one. She said that was the plan, and there is another one right there. That's going to roll in for the third goal coming off the goalkeeper. George was involved in it. Johnson was down there, and I believe we'll check it here, but I think they're probably going to give the goal to Sophia Wynn, 16. We'll see. 16. Well, I will tell you a similar thing happened the other day, and they didn't call it an own goal. I mean, based on the rules, you're right, but they ended up calling it a goal. Well, we can call it an own goal, though. So an own goal makes it 3-0. George involved in it. Sophia Wynn. Yeah, so they may give the goal to Sophia Wynn right in front, looking for Johnson with Wynn right behind. That's George again with the great service. So they did give the goal to Sophia Wynn. Bumpy Pitch did the same thing actually in their first game, where from the side, no angle, the ball was not going on the goal, and they counted it as a goal. So generous scorekeepers, why not? Part of the spirit of the TST, everybody having a good time. Although it is serious, and why wouldn't it be with $1 million on the line? That's what you call Daniel Bentley money. The kick in. Tell that the heat and the start here slowing this game down a little bit, although boy, the rotation here from Bumpy Pitches looked really good. A chance to score again, and the finish right there from Gianna Riley, and Riley gets her picture taken from Scotland Antonucci, and it is 3-0 now. 4-0. See, because here's the deal, when you have 3 and you score another one, it's 4. 4-0. Clinical display here from Bumpy Pitch.
A little under 7 minutes into the second half.
4-0. Thanks for letting me correct myself. Sophia Wynn. Sophia Wynn, another Florida State player. Boca Dallas will switch it. One bounce to Gomez. Gomez will lose it. Breakaway time. Klinke from Notre Dame. So close. She's always been one of my favorite players. Played for Nate Norman, who spent time under Martin Rennie here with the Carolina Railhawks. Nate Norman has been a great coach at Notre Dame. Martin Rennie's now his assistant at Notre Dame. And I love saying Leah Klinke because my wife of 30 years is Leah Linke. Tina Hedda comes all the way to midfield. Drops it to Valdez. Valdez, who has scored the only goal so far in TST action for Boca Dallas. Here's Klinke. Klinke didn't play quite as much in the first game, but great to see Leah Klinke out there now. She does have an E in her name, but pronounced like a short I. McCall's Urboni. Former UCLA Bruin. Klinke has it ripped. Boca Dallas. Now a little touch, and it'll come all the way back to Oba. McCall Zerboni, number 7. Courage fans love McCall Zerboni. They were sad to see her go. Part of the business, though. For me, the original Junkyard Dog, the modern-day one, Denise O'Sullivan for the North Carolina Courage. Heavy rotation change here for Boca Dallas. They may have run in 4 or 5 right there, but still taken away. This time it's Harvey. Harvey will give it over to Ajeto. Ajeto runs into a little bit of contact and goes down. Good tackle coming in. Kayla Mills, who has spent time in France. Mills on the turn. Mills right in front of us. Mills down the line and out of bounds. Got some Florida State fans wanting to Jetto go. Here she is, Ajeto, right in front of us, Ajeto. Send it all the way forward, ahead of the Zerboni run. 4-0, bumpy pitch. All right, let's start talking about target score time. I think you all know the deal, but just in case you don't, that's why we're here. Every game of the TST, now in its 3rd year, ends with a game-winning goal. What is better than that? Who doesn't love goals? Who doesn't love game-winning goals? So how does that work? Well, they play 40 minutes, and you take the leading score and add 1 to it. That is the target. So, for instance, it's 4-0. If it stays 4-0, when this 20 minutes expires, the target will be 5. The first team to 5 will win the game. We have seen teams, by the way, down 4-0 in the target score situation and win 5-4. That is a fact. 11th save for Tina Hero. This is to the feet of Valeria Macias, Club Savage, among one of the teams that she's played for. And Boca Dallas gets on the board. So Boca Dallas, little silent assassin, scored by Judith Gongora, who, as I mentioned earlier, with Tigres and 5 other teams. So Gongora, just the 2nd goal in 2 games for Boca Dallas, and it makes it 4-1. George on it. George stays alive to Riley. Riley squares it back. George dancing with it. George! Oh, so close to upper 90. George, such a great shooter with accuracy. Let's see what's going on here. Looks like too much maybe time wasting, so they're going to give it back to Boca Dallas, who can stand tall, as they do have one in the back of the net. They did get one in their opening 3-1 loss to the North Carolina Courage U23 team. Last year it was Jessica McDonald, J-Mac, leading the North Carolina Courage team to the championship game against the U.S. women, where J-Mac, a member of the 2019 U.S. World Cup team, could have easily been playing for the U.S. women, but as an ambassador for the North Carolina Courage, spearheaded that team. It featured several former players for the North Carolina Courage and other local players. Here's George, extra pass, and the finish there from Gianna Riley. And they get the goal right back, and it's 5-1 with a little under 7 minutes remaining here in the second half. 5-1, Bumpy pitch on top of Boca Dallas.
Goal, Bumpy pitch.
Tina Hero has been great, but basically needed to build a brick house behind her to stop this Bumpy pitch team.
Assist going to number 8, Faith George.
Faith George with yet another point. That's what she does. Number 8.
6 minutes remaining in the second.
Making her dad, Sam, and the rest of the George family so
Bumpy
proud.
pitch 5, Boca Dallas 1.
21-7 shots advantage here. Johnson with a chance to beat Tina Hetto. Thought maybe she was going to cut her to the left and then be in. Johnson a little frustrated. She's going to head off the pitch now as Nagasato, who had the second goal, a brilliant goal. Gianna Riley will head out. Now into the game, Scotland Antonucci. Antonucci, part of the U.S. Youth National Team system. Shot from distance, and Oba with a quality save, a corner kick coming for Boca Dallas with 5 minutes remaining here in regulation. 5-1 the score. Bumpy pitch on top of Boca Dallas.
5 minutes remaining in regulation, fans. 5 minutes remaining, field 5. Boca Dallas taking on Bumpy pitch FC.
Little turn.
Your score, Bumpy pitch 5, Boca Dallas 1.
One in the middle. Tremendous work there by Sophia Wynn. Trying to run it down is Antonucci. Nagasato played into Antonucci. Corner kick coming for Bumpy pitch. Last time they took too much time, and so the referee gave it back for a goal kick. Great little touches there. Ajeto with a back heel and a beauty. One back here by Bumpy pitch. They seem to be getting stronger here as this game goes on, and Ajeto basically promised us a goal just by nodding her head, and Ajeto with Brian Penske's Florida State Seminoles has scored a goal. Well done by Ryder Ajeto, and it's 6-1. An absolute clinic by Bumpy pitch, including Ryder Ajeto. And now it's 6-1. Ajeto stays out there defensively. 14 versus 14. What a tackle by Ajeto. They'll call it back, shoulder to shoulder, as she knocked down Karen Lozoye, who played for Copa Libertadores. Ooh, that one off of Ajeto. Run back by Nagasato. Ball forward trying to find Gilchrist. Five goals from Florida State players in this game. Ajeto, who's got one of them. Gilchrist also at Florida State. Gilchrist drops it back. Looking for Nagasato. Played to the feet of Prysock. Prysock was on that 2016 National Championship team for Southern Cal, just recently retired from the professional ranks, well, at least the NWSL ranks. You now have the Super League and other options. Played over by Shea Harvey. Far side to Mills. Kick in coming from Suarez. Adding college players to these teams has made a difference, as teams are realizing the young play a big role. Youth, so important with the grind here, the heat and everything else. McCall Zerboni. You know what? If you're good enough, you're old enough. Suarez, so close as Taylor Suarez. She's definitely good enough. Big-time talent. George right back into the game, middle of the park. McCall Zerboni also in there. Little touch from Agetto. Now George. George battling right in front of us. Agetto cleans it up. Agetto will drop it back. Agetto back to Mills. Turn back over to Boca Dallas, who find themselves down by 5 with only about 30 seconds remaining here in regulation before we set the target score. If it stays the way it is right now, the target score will be 7. It'll also mean Boca Dallas has a lot of wood to chop. There's one of them. Great job, a mistake, and Damaris Sanchez, who plays in the MASL Women's League, scores a goal. And so we will head to target score time with the score Bumpy pitch 6, Boca Dallas 2. The target score is set at 7. We'll be back in just a moment for target score time. The TST. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Boca Dallas goal scored.
Target score is 7. Bumpy pitch, sitting at 6. They have a 4-goal lead and a really good opportunity.
And fans, we have kickoff. We're in target score time.
Genesee Puntigam. She said Austrian, assistant coach at Rice, wearing number 11 right in front of us. George sends it all the way across off the head of Suarez. And you can see right now the mentality for Bumpy pitch is, let's go ahead and get number 7 right away. They still have one more group game to play. This win for Bumpy pitch will send them on. Here's George! And George, not enough to get by Tina Hedda. We'll ask Anthony Hennig, our producer, how many saves that is now for Alondra Tina Hedda. That'll be her 12th save. Tough tackle as going down was Denise Valdez. She scored the only goal in that game against the Courage, a 3-1 loss. Oh, and knocked in, and it's now 6-3, and this is on. as it's finished right there by Andrea Allman, who spent time with the Mexico national team, and it's 6-3. Anything is possible. Elise Evans over to Riley. Riley's touch got away from her just a little bit. Gongora was there. And Riley trying to fight for it back. It'll stay with Boca Dallas. Kick in coming for Bumpy pitch. They have given up a goal here in target score time. It's now 6-3. Bumpy pitch on top of Boca Dallas. Here's a good ball inside. Extra pass, little turn. Johnson was waiting on the far stick. It'll be a corner kick coming for Bumpy pitch. Bumpy pitch. Will hustle over there. Scotland Antonucci. Goes off of Johnson, and they'll do it again. Corner kick, Bumpy pitch with a chance to win it in target score time. Headed back across. Sophia Wynn for the quick kick in. They'll send it back in. That one too far and too far away from Genesee Puntagam, the assistant coach with Brian Lee at Rice.
Bumpy pitch 6, Boca Dallas 3. We have a target score
Yuki Nagasato coming into the game.
And fans, it's that time. One player from each squad being removed from the pitch.
So we played 3 minutes in target score time, so we now go 6v6. If I haven't said it before, I'll say it now as one of the key things. When this started 2 years ago, it would be 5 minutes they would take a player off. And again, for efficiency purposes, they've changed it to 3 minutes. And it's 3 minutes when the ball goes out of bounds or there's a whistle, so it can go longer than 3 minutes. Some of you may have seen times where even when they have the ball, they've had the whistle, but they've kind of got all of that sorted out, as the TST has shown an incredible ability to be nimble and pivot really over all of the last 3 years. The first year, 32 men's teams, 31, and the U.S. women. And the next year, 48 men's teams, 8 women. Now this year, 48 men's teams, 16 women's teams, which is fantastic. $1 million on the line for both the women and the men. Winner take all, $1 million. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Really good hustle, but it's a little bit too late there for Sophia Wynn. So 6v6. Boca Dallas showing a little bit of fight. As Tegan Y back into the game for Bumpy pitch. Turn from Leah Klinke. Kept alive by Elise Evans. Stanford. Still 6v6 at the moment. Taken away by Bumpy pitch. Sliding with it. Klinke sent back. Kept alive by Gilchrist. Florida State. This is Harvey all the way across. Trying to get to it was Yuki Nagasato. He's already got a brilliant goal in this game.
And fans, if you're just joining us here on Field 5, welcome. This is a women's group stage round 2 matchup between Boca Dallas and
Tegan Y.
TST.
Good ball. Corner kick coming to Bumpy pitch. Bumpy pitch with a 6-3 lead.
We are currently 6.
Always great to see The man they call the mayor of Chapel Hill, Bobby Gonzalez, at the TST.
And fans,
all right, here we go. We're going to go to 5v5 now. As give Boca Dallas credit that we went into target score time at 6-2, and Boca Dallas scored one early, 6-3, and now we find ourselves at 5v5. Still a lot of work to be done by Boca Dallas. Bumpy pitch has to feel pretty good about where they are, but that goal, they'd like to get it sooner as the later. They still got another game to play later today. Tina Hedo, who's had a big-time game, 12 saves. Otherwise, this game would be over. Suarez, she's actually got 13, so I apologize for that short change. She's looking to get 14 here in a second. Good move inside by Ajeto. Ajeto, number 14, she's got a goal. 5 of the goals out of the 6 are with current Brian Penske Florida State players. Pretty cool. Of course, if Florida State, if Bumpy Pitch plays the U.S. women, and there it is, Ajeto. Ryder Ajeto does a little dance as well. Talk to us over here in our broadcast spot. And Ajeto with a couple goals, and the Golden Fleece is round the Florida State Seminole. Ryder Ajeto, big-time celebration. This Bumpy Bitch team is good, and they get the win here as they knock off Boca Dallas by a score of 7-3. For Anthony and the gang, I'm Dean Linke. We'll see you for more action on the TST.
For Bumpy Pitch is number 14, Ryder Ajeto. Once again, congratulations to Bumpy Pitch FC.
Five girls score for you. Dude, these two young men, oh my God, I need to pay them, you know? So